I would ask you to join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I see we have some new people here. If you have something you want to speak on, I'd ask you to identify yourself, what town you live in, and speak.
Also come up to the table if you'd like to speak.
I'm Annie Blair and I live in Walpole. And I'm here to give credence or support for the restorative justice program. So I'll just read my statement. Is that okay?
Mm-hmm.
So I'm a parent, grandparent, and community member interested in the well-being of our young people. They're going to make mistakes, which is normal and part of learning. But when they make one that lands them in the criminal justice system, I think the restorative justice approach is an incredibly valuable resource. I base my opinions on stories I've heard from friends working with this method, articles and books I've read, and my own experiences as parent and grandparent. Some reasons I think this way are: one, it's a systemic approach that brings in the victim, the offender, and the family members of both. Facilitated by trained staff, they share and dialogue so that a full picture of what happened can first be understood and then addressed. Two, a young person's brain is still developing, and this approach enhances the growth of understanding the impact of their actions on others, a learning how to take responsibility for their actions, listening to and respecting the experiences of others, and taking steps to repair harm without being shamed. For both offender and victim, experiencing these at a young age will contribute to becoming responsible and empathic adults. And the third is that research shows that the restorative justice method offers a more effective way to address harm than traditional court processing by giving victims a voice and closure, allowing offenders to understand their actions' impact and how to repair harm, and for both offenders and victims, promoting personal growth and the development of relationship skills. Thank you.
Thank you.
So can I say something?
Yes, will you?
Nigel Calder from Newcastle. Hi, David. I wanted to put a personal slant on this. This is not from Maine. This is from when I was living in Maryland, but I think it helps to have some distance because then we can take the local issues out of it. Our neighbors there that we're quite friendly with, the father was in jail. The son in senior in high school was having a little bit of a difficult time, and he got in a fight with his mother. They had a friend who was a cop that the mother called, and he came by, and the kid got in a fight with the cop. Nobody got hurt, but the DA decided to prosecute him for trying to disarm a police officer, which had a 10-year sentence in Maryland. So I talked to the kid, and he agreed to sign up for the army if they dropped the charges, because I felt he just needed a disciplined environment to help him through those difficult years. And I talked to the DA, and she refused to do that. So they put him in jail for 4 years, and in jail he got in with a bunch of they turned him basically into a criminal from being a kid in trouble. And when he got out of jail, he was riding around in a car with some friends, and somebody got shot. He didn't pull the trigger. He's now in jail for life. there's an 18-year-old kid that could have been saved with restorative justice if there'd been just a little more compassion in the situation and a bit more understanding. And not only that, the taxpayers are spending $40,000 to $50,000 a year to keep him in jail for life. And so I think we all want justice. We want to see the people that are harmed. We want to see they get justice. But we also need to think about the long-term consequences of taking young people that make mistakes and giving them jail sentences, and then they're going to have trouble the rest of their lives getting decent work and getting out beyond that mistake that they made as a kid. And we need to have a mechanism to take them out of the criminal justice system and to deal with these issues before we put them in a situation where they end up becoming basically in jail for years, and then half the time with recidivism, they become basically lifelong troubled people with a criminal history. So I just wanted to put that in the picture. Thank you.
Is there anyone else who would like to speak? Well, thank you for.
No, we don't want to come.
Just real quick. Hi. I'm Jenny Began from Damascotta, and I'm here in support of the restorative justice approach to resolving certain criminal proceedings. This approach saves the taxpayers money and results in better outcomes for both the victim and the offender. I was involved in several situations where this approach was used to resolve conflict in high school settings, actually, but with the same group, teenagers, that I think that it's being used in Lincoln County. Both the victims and the offenders were heard and respected while using this process of restorative justice. And in the end, conflicts were resolved for better outcomes for both. So I'm very much in favor of this approach.
You.
Hello,
Hello.
my name's Samantha McGow, and I know I had an opportunity at the end of your most recent meeting to address all of you. And I appreciate hearing everyone speak. I had wanted to say that the day before your meeting, I had been involved, so I'm going to speak specifically to the DA's office that we're talking about. I'd been involved in a sentencing hearing with my abuser. The district attorney took 9 counts of assault to aggravated and got that into a recommendation of no contest, which essentially means no accountability. And so while I really do appreciate where we're coming from in the sense of restorative justice when it comes to dealing with young people, I couldn't agree more. When it comes to dealing with predators, I couldn't disagree more. This is a personality. A lot of batterer's intervention notoriously does not work for individuals that can commit these crimes. And I could speak more to my experience with this particular district attorney's office, but it is definitely what would bring me into this room when a friend shared this article with me the day before a sentencing hearing that went off the rails when it came time to my victim's impact statement. Specific to the budgetary committee, I did have a lingering question from our last, well, not our, your last meeting, is that I wondered who performs audits for these departments. I mean, certainly I don't believe that we're suggesting to ever defund, the parameters of justice, but perhaps we're asking for accountability. As a voter and a taxpayer, I am asking for accountability. What I heard in the last meeting are a lot of excuses as to why accountability cannot be met. I heard migraines. I heard that 80% of survivors and victims do not want to go to trial. I am not of that 80%. I heard that the Constitution is in the way. I heard a lot from that meeting. And so it gave me a lot of pause and confusion and questions. But anyway, I appreciate you listening to me and just having this other voice in the room. Thank you.
Thank you for coming in. Is there anyone else who would like to speak? Thank you very much. Well, we'll go back to our regular agenda. We have the minutes of the October 17th budget session. What action would you like to take with that?
Move to approve as written.
Oh, second. Moved and seconded. Any questions or comments? No, I'll just say abstain since I wasn't at the meeting. If no other questions, all in favor of approval of the minutes?
Aye.
Aye. 2-0 and 1 abstention. The October 21st meeting. Move to approve minutes for October 21st meeting.
Seconded.
Moved and seconded. Any questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, 3-0 in favor. Good morning.
Good morning.
Just in time.
I'll be quick. I
The
promise.
finance.
Be quick. So before you have warrant number 84 in the sum of $255,376.89. This includes our monthly health insurance, a payment to Bond Tree Medical for just under 30,000 for Stop the Bleed kits. This is part of our Homeland Security grant money. Payment to Coastal Electronics for cruiser installation of equipment, and our monthly credit card statement.
Could we have a motion, please?
Move to approve the payroll accounts payable warrant number 84, the amount of $255,376.89.
Second. Moved and seconded.
I have one question. How often are Bernstein Sure is that? What frequency?
That's our,
I can answer.
oh, go ahead.
So generally they're monthly,
Mhm.
however, they had some issues with their billing, so there were, I believe, 4 months worth of bills that are represented in that one.
Thank you. Just wanted to know.
Any
Not
other-
typically that high.
I had the same question.
Yeah.
Yep.
David, you have any other? No, that was it. If there are no other questions, all in favor of the motion?
Aye.
Aye, 3-0 in favor.
And I have payroll warrant number 22 in the sum of $272,604.91. Pretty typical story through, as we've had throughout the year. We are over entity-wide in overtime, but we are more than compensating in our regular wages and our budget for FICA.
Move to approve payroll warrant 2025-22 for $272,604.90.
Seconded.
Moved and seconded. Are there any other questions? All in favor? Aye. Aye, 3-0 in favor.
Thank you for the help. We will be seeing you.
After you left, I thought I should have got another one, but.
Sure, there was pictures of the new hospital here.
Thank you.
The Sheriff's Department. Yeah, there he is.
Good morning.
Good
morning.
Mr. Chair, it looks like our count out at Two Bridges this morning is 171. We have 32, SAG has 19, 22 from Knox, 55 from Penobscot, 30 from Waldo, 1 from Kennebec, which I assume is an exchange.
Yep.
3 from the Marshal Service and 10 from ICE. Like I said, that totals 171 this morning out at Two Bridges.
We need to-
If you have no questions on the count, then the only other item I have, yesterday, I received a letter of resignation, notice of retirement from Detective Sergeant Ron Rollins. Ron will be retiring from his position as Detective Sergeant, effective December 12th, 2025. Ron has been with us a long time, worked his way up through patrol into CID and then into the sergeant's position. I don't have enough good things to say. Ronnie's part of the glue that holds our CID division together. He's an outstanding supervisor. He's an incredible investigator. And has had a really successful career. This will put a big hole in my division over there. And he'll be sorely missed. I'm sure we'll have more to talk about as the time gets closer and we try to plan some event or whatever we may do for Ron. But
What is the date that he's?
December 12th, 2025. I just got it yesterday. I apologize. It wasn't on the agenda ahead of time. I just sent the information over to Carrie yesterday. I got it last minute, so. I thought I would bring it, at least before your attention today. I can bring it back officially at your next meeting if you'd like. Reluctantly, I recommend that we accept his notice of retirement.
You want to move on that today?
Yes. Move to accept the retirement of
Say this.
Detective Sergeant Rollins, right? The move is
Seconded.
and seconded. Any comments? All in favor? Aye. 3-0 in favor.
Thank you very much. That's all I have unless you have something for me this morning.
You will have something more regarding this resignation.
Yeah. We'll come back to you with some plans, some more discussion.
Yeah, and it affects your budget too, doesn't it? Well,
It should in a positive way.
yeah.
Are we allowed to ask any questions?
We typically don't.
Okay, that's okay.
We keep moving it on. Yeah.
If you have a question for me, I'm gonna be right outside the door. You're more than welcome to ask.
So much.
Thank you, Sheriff.
Use him as much as you can.
There you go. Recycling,
Communications. Communications is up next.
communications, right?
Good morning.
Good morning.
Morning.
So what I came today to do is to have you vote on the verbal approval that I received for 2 communication officers. We had an application process that we just kind of finished for that. We had a whole group of them. And we went to the oral board, and at the oral board, we had 3 candidates, and I received afterwards, we had 2 recommendations. Carrie contacted the board and received verbal approval for those 2 candidates. And they have filled out their background checks. Their background checks are currently with our CID division. And so I would like to ask for a vote to support that verbal approval for these 2 candidates. I'm hesitant in putting forth any names just until their background check is completed.
Oral board, can you describe what that is?
An oral board is when the candidates come in and we have 3 to 5 members of emergency services and or some members of the public. They have scripted questions that they ask the candidates, and we're not looking for a correct answer necessarily, but the process that they use to attain their answer. The oral board then puts a point value on how they feel individually that the candidate did, and then they make a recommendation to me. And based on that and their test that they take, there's a test before they move on to the oral board. We use all of those factors in determining who we would like to select and offer a position to.
Okay,
So what you need for motion is a formal approval to continue with the hiring process.
Have 2
Yes. please.
communications.
I move that we continue formally the hiring process of 2 communications officers.
second, moved and seconded. If there are no questions, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye, 3-0 in favor.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Thank
Have
you.
a wonderful day.
Hopefully they all work out.
Yes, fingers crossed.
Yes,
Is
ma'am.
Tim in the hallway?
No? Tim? No. So
We're running a little ahead of schedule. I was expecting Tim to come to the meeting, but.
We can skip ahead.
How
down to you
about
if you want.
yours?
Sure. I also have information on his items if you'd like. So the Register of Deeds is planning a trip out of state and she's asking permission of the board to make a trip to Virginia Beach in February to attend the Property Records Industry Association Winter Symposium. It's a conference that is specific for folks that work in the Registry of Deeds offices all over the country. The registers from York, Cumberland, Hancock, Penobscot, and Oxford counties are also traveling out of state. This is a budgeted expense for the register, and the total cost is about $1,400.
Could we have a motion, please?
Move to approve the out-of-state travel request for Register of Deeds.
Second. Is this the annual conference for, her, or is it if it's budgeted?
I believe it's held annually, but she rarely attends it.
Oh, well,
Yeah, this is the first time that I can recall her attending it since I've been here.
anything else? No, I'm just.
Virginia Beach in February.
All in favor, call the motion? Aye.
Aye.
Aye, 3-0 in favor.
I have the updated IT services contract renewal with Burgess Technology. We've had Burgess as our vendor for several years now. We have a great relationship with them. And as our needs grow, they are growing with us. I've asked Burgess to identify any cybersecurity risks that may be growing for us. I'm trying to make sure that we're maintaining the vigilance we need so that we're not hit with a cyber attack. They proposed 3 different updates to our policy or our contract, excuse me, and there's an additional cost of about $11,000 annually for all of the additional services that they're proposing. The total contract amount is $130,885.57. This includes everything from our help desk, our on-site IT person that comes at least once a week, our off-site network monitoring, our antivirus, our cybersecurity training we offer our employees, our Microsoft 365 licenses. It's got a very comprehensive package that's rolled up into this. It's not just for the costs of the people.
All flat fees. Or
They're monthly amounts. And we get an annual pool of hours that were allotted. The last several years, we haven't used up all of those hours and we're allowed to carry those forward. So if we were to have an incident where if we were hacked, we would be able to draw from that leftover pool to supplement the hours that we have annually. We put this out to bid when we first went with Burgess. We got 2 bids and one was in the southern part of the state and it was almost double the price. I reached out to my contacts at other counties to see what they're spending on IT services. And a lot of them have staff that are on either 1, 2, or 3 people for a county our size. And the cost for their IT department is at least double what we're paying for this. So this is a great value for us. The service we get is top notch. Whenever we need something, we're able to call and we get response immediately.
how long have we used them over the years? So, yeah.
I believe that we first signed with them around 2016 or 2017.
Okay, so quite a while.
Yeah.
And sounds like by your comments, it's all been smooth or fairly.
We had some hiccups at the beginning, but I think a lot of it was learning on both of our sides. We were a new entity for them because they had never done county government before. And we come with our own challenges with law enforcement and dispatch and all of the special services that counties offer. But the process that we have in place now is very smooth. very smooth. I recommend Burgess to people who ask for referrals all the time. They're excellent for us.
And does this help us meet, you mentioned cybersecurity, what, the risk pool insurers are requiring?
Yep, so when I do the cyber security policy renewal, all the boxes that I need to check yes, we're checking them yes. In fact, the survey that we get, we're over and above what they're looking for. And an example of how we get great service from them, a few months back, we had the electrical panel failure at the comm center in the middle of the night. Our Burgess person was here on site within 30 minutes. And here in the middle of the night solving the problem along with our electrician. So they're ready for us whenever we need them. So I would ask your permission to renew this contract with Burgess.
Move to approve IT services contract renewal with Burgess Technology Services.
Second. Moved and seconded. Any other questions? All in favor?
Aye.
3-0 in favor.
Yep. FEMA. So as we're all aware, FEMA has set some new standards for us for our Homeland Security grants. There was a federal lawsuit, a couple of them, in fact, that ruled in our favor for the new standards that are in place with the FEMA grants. We were waiting for new standards to come out and then the government shutdown happened. So FEMA issued a Directorate Information Bulletin to MEMA and all of the other states that were involved in this lawsuit, letting them know that there are new standards that have been prepared and they're ready to issue them as soon as the government reopens. So every day I'm looking to see if those standards have been updated. They have not. And when that happens, I would make the recommendation that we move forward with making those applications for funds through MEMA for Homeland Security, the EMPG grant, Operation Stone Garden, all of the federal grants that we've put on pause because of the standards that we were not willing to comply with. If those standards change to be favorable to us, I would make the recommendation that we do apply for them going forward. So I don't have standards yet, but I just wanted to give you an update on that.
Good update.
And I have a grant application to let you know about with the Maine Semi-Quincentennial Commission Grant Program. This is the $10,000 grant that Commissioner Gudkowski shared with me. And I asked our former economic executive director of the Regional Planning Commission to apply on our behalf and then initiate the grant once it gets approved. I hope it gets approved. So Mary Ellen Barnes reached out to the historical associations in Lincoln County to see if they would be interested in participating in this grant process. And she's got a great big description of different events that she's going to focus on in the upcoming year that focus on Lincoln County history and the different demographics that really shaped our county and looking backwards in history to the time where the 250th occurred. So it's a $10,000 grant. It's a no match grant. We can find out the decision in December and the work on the grant can begin in January. That gets awarded. So just to share that information with you. I do have an update for you on the public safety building. If you're wanting to go to that or
Yeah, sure.
Whatever your pleasure is on the agenda.
I'm sorry, I didn't hear what you said.
So I have information on the recycling purchase authorizations. If you want to wait for Tim, he can present them also. I do have information on the public safety building. If you want that update now.
I'll do the public safety building.
Yep.
Sure.
We never get to see Tim, so if he shows up. Better.
That's what I told him.
Yeah.
So we did a field trip with our consultants Sheriff Brackett and Michelle and I met them. We went to a location on Route 1 that was not on our original list. And I think we've kind of identified some challenges with the property because of the neighbors. There's two pretty significant fuel holding facilities nearby. There's also a school or a pre-K nearby also, which would be a challenge for putting a public safety building in that location. So I think we've eliminated that from our list. We revisited a site in Noblesboro that was also near a school. The terrain on that was not really beneficial and the location wasn't either. There was another location on Route 1 in Noblesboro that has some very challenging sight lines on the road. And the terrain it's level at part of it, but then it goes down into a pretty significant gully. So that was eliminated from our list. And we went to a location on Route 1 that it's a parcel that's for sale right now. Part of it's in Noblesboro, part of it is in Damascotta. It's still on the market and that's a viable site for us. We do still have one of the former locations that we walked on our list, but we're having challenges with trying to identify whether or not the owner is willing to sell. So our consultants are going to move forward with blocking diagrams and trying to give us an idea of where a building would be sited on these different parcels that are still running. And then bring those to us to make a decision on where to take the next step. So
does that anticipate a design or they just say, okay, here's a square, how does it fit on these different lots? Or
so they've
what process do they do?
they've identified how much square footage each piece of the complex would need. So we would have a main building and then an out storage building. All of those, they know how much parking,
Yeah.
so on, yes. So they know how much square footage each of those would take. And they have the topographical maps. I met with Emily Raby and the two consultants on a Zoom call so that we could talk about zoning and the setbacks and all of those requirements. So they would just draw out the block. It wouldn't be anything really detailed, just to give you an idea of where on the site would be the best building location and if it would support what we're looking for.
Right. And would they do it with other lots too? Because we're down to just a few,
So
nothing is certain yet.
the recommendation is to have 2 or 3 of them. And that would give you an opportunity to weigh the pros and cons of each. Some properties are better location wise, but other properties might be better as building sites.
Yeah.
And there may be less of a conflict with the neighbors, meaning you don't want to site a complex like this close to a large fuel storage tank facility. You want to make sure that you're taking all of those things into consideration.
And there may be zoning concerns that prohibit
Correct.
that type of building.
Correct. Curb cuts from DOT are going to be a challenge on some places more than others. Whether or not we pursue building a tower, we'd have to look at the zoning requirements for building a tower also. So there's a lot that goes into this and they like to have several for you to consider, not just one.
What's their timetable on that plotting?
They can move forward now with that.
Okay.
They're waiting on us now.
Okay. Okay, thank you.
Okay. I think the budget review is going to be really part of the district attorney's conversation with budget. So I don't really have a whole bunch more to add to that. We've really shared all the updates we have for budget last week. We haven't had anything since then.
Recycling?
It's Tim.
I don't think so.
He's not here yet.
Okay,
We'll pretend he's there.
well, we'll let him say hello if he shows. So the first item that he has for you to consider is the purchase of baling wire. This is through New England Baling Wire. And the cost per pound is $1.43. We buy 7 stems of wire, 11 gauge galvanized spools of wire. So the spool is about this high and the spool of wire is about this big around. They deliver them by freight. We store them inside of our recycling shed. And this is the wire that we use for our baler. So when the products go through the baling process and get to the end and they get wrapped with wire, this is the wire that we use for that. The total amount of the purchase is $18,081.42. This is enough wire to last us at least a year. We buy it in bulk so that we pay freight once. And we have this facility that we can store it in. So buying a larger amount is a challenge to us.
So we need a motion to approve.
Yes, please.
Move to approve the purchase authorization of New England Baling Wire, $18,081.42.
Second. Moved and seconded. Any questions?
Sure, I'll just ask about, does that wire get recycled once the bale is
Come on.
wherever it goes? Do you know, like, the end life of that?
I don't know.
Going down the stream.
Yeah,
We,
because it seems like wire, if you pull it off, you rewire it or something and it goes
it's
back.
metal.
Yeah.
I imagine that there's a market for that.
Yeah.
It goes on to the semi truck and goes to the broker. It gets delivered to the next place where it's going to be.
And hopefully they do two quick snips and then throw your wire right back in the pile to get
There we
mounted
go.
back to send it back
Spool
to us.
back up, you
I
know.
think they have to-
with the-
Hopefully.
I think they have to cut it so that the bale is under pressure because those pieces of wire will
Yeah.
Cut you right open.
cut you right open if they snap. You don't want to be anywhere near it.
Does Casella receive those?
So Casella finds purchasers for us. So
Like a broker?
they're like our brokers, so they find different markets and they send the trucks to our facility that we load and they take them off to the next market.
So this is really a necessity of the whole program is. you
We
gotta
need
build-
wire
you need
in
to
order to
bundle
bail.
it, okay.
Yeah, we can compress it all we want, but
Right.
without tying the product together, it doesn't stay compressed.
And it doesn't matter if it's plastic or paper, it all gets bundled.
Doesn't matter.
Yeah,
The only
okay.
thing that we don't bail would be glass
And compost.
and compost. We sell that.
I
Yeah.
keep trying, but
Right. It keeps.
Do we have a-
Keep lots.
We have a vote on this, please?
I,
All, aye.
Thank you.
3-0 in favor.
Okay, the next item is the purchase of tires, and this is for the new to us Packer, the 2019 Freightliner. These are rims and winter tires that we need for this truck. The total amount is $3,575.04, and it's through Maine Commercial Tire. This is the vendor that we use for these very large recycling truck tires. And it includes the mounting and balancing and all of the components of that.
Move to approve the purchase authorization of the recycling tires.
seconded.
Moved and seconded. If there are no questions, all in favor?
I,
Aye. 3-0 in favor.
district attorney was in the hallway. If we want- Yeah, if we want to see if she's still there,
Want to speed that up.
it'd be good for everybody.
I guess they thought you'd go along the. That's already. We can.
It's not in the hallway, so that's when we go.
Okay.
did you want to give updates on MCCA and all of that?
Sure.
I would just say there's nothing to update except that we meet next Wednesday on MCCA. There is that lingering thing that I guess the coming to Lincoln County in December, but I haven't heard more information about that. I expect at this next meeting to hear more about what the plan is for that.
Imagine Andre's pretty busy right now. His administrator's last day is Friday.
Oh, goodness. So maybe that will change, so stay tuned, because we just, it was not a good timing for us.
Scott.
Scott.
Oh,
gosh.
yeah.
Let's see, else, the Lincoln County Regional Planning Commission is having their executive committee meeting on the 19th at 6 p.m. via Zoom, and the full Regional Planning Commission meeting in person is on December the 18th, I do believe, so it's 6 p.m. 6 p.m. on December the 18th. So if you want to see people in sweaters and cookies, that is the time to come. The Coastal Counties Workforce Board, I submitted 2 new members to them. Katie Hunt from NC Hunt Lumber as a business representative, and another business representative from International Association of Machinists and Aerospace Workers District 4 to be their union representative. And they were excited to get both. So that's the update on that one.
Just running early. Well, this is nice. Facing, hello, how are you all today?
Good morning. Good morning.
Nice to see you. All right. So you can see that our budget is, most of our lines have stayed pretty close to the same. We've gone down in a few of our lines. The big change is in medical insurance, as I'm sure that's the case for other departments. Yeah. So that increased our budget. That line itself is $47,000 up. So other than that, and then even considering that, our budget is overall up 36,000. So even though we have that large increase, we've had reductions in other lines. Michelle's here, obviously. If you would like to, Michelle works with staff on the budget. I do approve the budget and I look over it. We do have, as you all know, I have 4 counties and 3 of them are in budget season right now. So I do have my notes here. Each county does things a little bit differently. Each county has the way their lines are set up, but I can answer questions about our budget. But again, we're asking for our basic operational budget. The biggest increase, the largest increase is medical insurance. Our mileage is down. DDA Murdoch has not been requesting mileage. I'm gonna, hopefully this year, we're fully staffed right now for the first time since March. We were down a position here only since September, so that was a pretty short vacancy, but we were down in Saginaw County since March, and I've had that caseload. I'll still have cases there, but hopefully without doing 2 or 3 jobs, I would be able to help somebody like Kent and any other of our attorneys or any staff that need it, but things that I could do or potentially do his mileage for him by just asking the questions. I know basically where he's covering, where he's going. It's typically Rockland for the recovery court. So
Natasha,
Yep.
does your proposed budget support your strategic goals and plans for the following year, or?
this is a basic operational budget. This isn't there's no frills here. This doesn't support any, so as far as long-term goals, I'm not asking for more county positions at the moment. We do
there are, well, I think just filling our vacant positions here is going to be really important. My long-term goals, some of the things that I would really love to have accomplished in this district as far as criminal justice reform goes, they don't really begin and end in our office. I mean, some of it is through how we would prosecute crimes. That's a big part of it. We're willing and able to do that. We don't have community partners who are able to facilitate restorative justice outcomes. We just don't have those nonprofits in the community that are funded. So we do potentially, I think we'll have a pilot project coming in that's able to take a small number of cases next year, starting next year. But so some of those goals that I have are really, you know, I would need to support other budgets, right? I would need to support other groups. So this is this budget, and it really reflects my other budgets they're all very, I think the biggest differences are when it comes to personnel. Those are the big differences in the district. And this is not asking for new positions or new resources or different resources to do anything other than basic operations. Make sure we have county staff that are paid, office supplies, computer consulting, you know, just we do the prosecutors conference every year, witness fees typically, and let me look at that line. What's going on with witness fees this year?
Those are the reserve.
You put those in reserve. So yeah, so that's changed slightly.
So the 5 full-time employees is what you need to do in this county.
I think once we're fully staffed again, it'll be easier to put our heads around if we had any other strategic goals. For instance, in Saginaw County, there's a domestic violence investigator in-house position. I don't think we'd probably ask for that because we have really great domestic violence detectives that we work really well with here in Lincoln County at the Sheriff's Department. And we have you know, there's only a few. It's a necessary position, and it's a position that we have in Saginaw County, and we're really happy to have that position there. But here, being part of the multidisciplinary team regarding domestic violence, the relationships we have with law enforcement and our really top-notch detectives here, we can go to them. They can kind of do the same thing as far as doing a deep dive into a serious case. And I'm working on a case with Matt Ryan right now. I've worked with Detective Mitkiss, and they're really, really great detectives. I heard that Detective Rollins is retiring. He's been a really great detective. So we have a really great resource here when it comes to that.
So you weren't here during public forum, but we had a few speakers talk about restorative justice. I noticed there's no line item for that, and I think you just sort of mentioned it. But could you just explain again why it's not in your budget?
So restorative justice is it's a lot to explain what restorative justice is. Restorative justice is a way to address harm, and it's a way to address harm that really began in Indigenous communities in the United States, but also Indigenous communities in other places around the world. And it's a type of process where people come together, people who've committed harm, right? And people who've been victims of harm, and other affected parties and other people in the community that are there to support. And there's a facilitator. It's really important that there's a facilitator, and that's what a budget might cover, would be that facilitation. And there's a facilitation between the offender and the victim. And if we had a group that was able to do restorative justice solutions with us, right now, the state of Maine, my office, we wouldn't be equipped to use that type of process for domestic violence or sexual assault. And that's a very long explanation, but it's about power and control, relationships that occur for those types of.
For sure, it's not budgeted for, so.
Okay, so sorry. So the way that we would go about using restorative justice in the criminal justice system would be one of two ways. One would be we get a report that there's a harm in the community, right? And it's a crime. And before we charge it, we divert that to a restorative process if we had a restorative process available to us. The second way would be to charge a crime and then divert after charging. But either way, it's not our office that would facilitate that. We would have too much positional power right? You don't want to sit down with the prosecutor who could potentially use your statements, right? It would be an abuse of power from my office to be facilitating that. So I would want an outside nonprofit that had the ability to do that. So from our perspective, it would just be a way of looking at the cases that come in, right? So one of my thoughts for the future was potentially we're going to have a public defender's office in this district. I can't wait for it. It's going to be a huge asset to have public defender services here in this district. And my hope would be they could have a facilitator potentially in their budget, but it wouldn't be appropriate to have in our budget. From our perspective, what we would have to do is train our attorneys and train our victim advocates to bring up these solutions and those
So
possibilities.
it's just not a district attorney program.
I don't think so. In other districts, I have relationships with district attorneys around the country that are engaged in this type of thing. And some of them, a lot of the folks I've met and worked with have huge offices, hundreds of attorneys. So they can insulate themselves. We can't do that. We aren't able to do that. So for instance, where we do use restorative justice right now, where there is funding, is in our juvenile cases. And that is funded through the Department of Corrections, and that is funded to Restorative Justice Project of Midcoast, Maine. And they fund juvenile restorative justice, the Department of Corrections, because because the data says that it's the best thing to do for crime rates, but also it's the best thing to do for kids. But again, that funding doesn't go to our offices. It goes to the organizations that do the restorative process, and we would divert. Almost like, it's not the same, but like we have Maine Pretrial Services. We work with them. We have a great working relationship with them, and they're outside because we shouldn't be telling them, we shouldn't have the power over that organization to decide whether they get a pretrial contract or not. That would be, again, it wouldn't be appropriate for it to be housed in our office. So that's what I think is that I do have those goals. I will have those goals as long as I'm district attorney. I think that the community would benefit greatly. And I think it would be great to build on successes that we've had in the past throughout the state, and build on the data and do what the data tells us is the best to keep our community safe. That's what I want. But again, it would be me asking for funding for other nonprofits. And then who knows? Potentially we would need a position that could help, maybe a special position that's shared throughout the district. That would be a victim advocate in restorative justice cases or something like that. But that's a ways out. We don't have the community funding at the moment for those organizations that can do that work. Does that kind of answer that question? And now the other strategic goal that is not, it's not something I can ask you for. We need, I believe, in order to adequately prosecute 4 counties worth of crimes, having 2 adult attorneys, 2 attorneys to take the entire caseload in each county is an extreme strain on my staff. It is an irresponsible number of attorneys to be funded through the state. And we need at least 1 or 2 more to be adequately staffed. We are completely inadequately staffed as far as I'm concerned. It makes and we're still doing the same caseload. We're not declining cases based on the fact that we're overworked. But it does mean that people don't take vacations, that people come in at 2:30 in the morning to work, that people's mental health is suffering, and that people's physical health is suffering. But that's a state issue, and I have to work with the state on that. So I do have goals, but here, as you see, our county budget is pretty much just making sure that our workers are paid, that they have their benefits, and it's like the operational cost of keeping things going. Again, attorneys, that's my wish list. And especially if we could have special sexual assault and domestic violence prosecutors in the district, like just 1 for the most serious cases would be really helpful. And then maybe, a full-time position. The deputy right now does half the caseload for Lincoln County, and he does the recovery court. That's 2 jobs. That's more than 2 jobs, actually. So
What you asked for
Mhm.
is sufficient to support the 2 ADAs now.
yes, yes, as far as support staff, and I think even if we had the extra attorney positions. I can't, I mean, can you think of anything that we've been kind of squawking about? No, I think once we're fully staffed, we'll be, it could come a time in the future, but no, nothing that I can see
So-
imminently.
You keep saying fully staffed, we have 5 positions. What do you mean? It's,
Well, we are hiring we have 2 vacant positions right now, so
and they're not filling yet?
no, we're hiring
We have interviews scheduled on
Friday.
Friday for
Okay,
one.
they are scheduled, okay.
Mhm.
All right, Natasha, you have the 5 positions that are county employees, and you have a deputy. Does he have an assistant also?
No, and I don't have an assistant either. It's no, we're on our own. Well, so Ken's most of his work is, well, a good portion of his work is a line attorney. If I was on maternity leave a few years ago, 4 years ago now. And I was out of the country on vacation or something, one can always dream that he would, if I was hit by a bus, he would be the district attorney, right? He would be in charge. So that's what the deputy does. He does take on he does actually way too much. He's just a very good, supportive deputy, and he supports the staff.
So you need one more attorney for Lincoln.
I think that, I mean, if we were given those positions, it would be a little more complicated than that, but potentially, that would be something I would talk to Kent about, but he does the recovery court and he does the deputy position. I would think maybe we would have maybe a line position here with the new attorney. Kent would float, support, help supervise, and take some of the serious cases, something like that. We got the recovery court in 2022, and all of the positions were funded except our prosecutor position. So we just took one for the team, and it is an extremely, I cannot say how successful this court has been, and it's because of the team. The judge, the defense, the prosecutor, the main pretrial services and social workers. But we have been given basically another 20, 30 plus hour position that Kent took on. He wanted to do that. He's doing a fabulous job. But yeah, it would be great to have, it's a little more complicated than just would we put somebody else in the Lincoln position but something along those lines probably.
What's the reason for the turnover in the office, the 2 positions?
The county positions?
Yeah.
One position went to work as a victim advocate in Saginaw County, so they stayed in district. And to be blunt, I think that one of our VWAs wasn't making enough money.
VWs.
Sorry, one of the victim advocates, it's a difficult job. I would say out of all the positions that we have in the district, there's a lot of vicarious trauma. It's a very difficult job. And they're not, I mean, not to be, terribly critical, but they don't make a lot of money, right? I think that they are underpaid throughout the state. They're underpaid in my district. But I think that I think that more pay would have been helpful to keep that person. So to be perfectly blunt.
But your budget is sort of in line with prior levels of pay for them.
Yes, but yeah, I think that, I mean, again, not to be, I believe that Saginaw County victim advocates start at something like $4 more per hour. These are conversations that I'd be happy to have. But I do think that Lincoln County does pay less than some of the other counties. I would have to look at I would have to look back to see, Waldo County, there's a discrepancy. I mean, unfortunately, from my perspective, because I'm the supervisor of all 28, 30 employees, and the state employees, the attorneys, that's all the same pay scale, but 4 different counties, 4 different personnel policies, 4 different pay structures. It's there's a lot going on.
Is it just the witness protection people, or is it the paralegals or assistants or both, or, I mean, where are we in your?
I think that Lincoln County, I'm spitballing, do you remember? I do think that Lincoln County pays less probably in all the county positions, starting pay.
Other counties.
I wasn't necessarily prepared to talk about that. That's something that I can pull the data for you all if you're interested in looking at. I assume my staff would probably love, but they're just doing a pay study in Knox County right now. So they may get a bump up, they may not. But I'd be happy to get those numbers for you. That actually would be a strategic goal, would be to have some more uniformity throughout the district. In District 3, they have one budget process for all 3 counties. I have 4 counties. I have the most counties in the state, and we have four budget processes. And it does, again, it's but District 3 isn't perfect either. So I mean, that wouldn't be. I'm not just asking for that to happen, but there's, I think maybe. And I know, I mean, you all have your county, you know, I'm one department and I'm the only department that has a district. So I understand that it wouldn't be a high priority for you all. And I haven't made it the highest priority because I always feel like I'm 10 steps behind on other stuff. But I would love to get you those numbers just as far as pay scale goes to try and see if there's any movement there. I do think that would be helpful. But I'll say on top of it, I feel personally, I think that VWA, victim witness advocates around the state, feel that their work is underpaid. I believe that, you know, taking a look at that, I mean, if you look at victim advocates around the state, a few years ago, I think it was about 50% of victim advocates in the state had a second job. So this is a 40-hour week position where you're dealing with victims who have been brutalized. You're dealing with victims who are angry at you. You're dealing with victims who, cases where where these victim advocates have seen this defendant come over and over again, and our victim perhaps won't testify, and it's difficult for us. There's cases where people's animals have been killed. I mean, there's terrible crimes that we deal with every day.
If you do a salary study, that would be helpful to know, because
Yeah.
I'm curious. I mean, it's a small office, and to lose 2 folks at once, it seems like it's a big loss. So
Yeah.
if it's about pay, we should be thinking about, maybe addressing that issue, but.
I do,
Yeah,
and just
it's like-
for some context, both of the people who left interviewed for the same victim advocate position in Saginaw County, where there is a higher pay scale. One of them got it, one of them didn't. I wish I could have hired, but I think the person that didn't get the position, I think that the higher pay was really important to them, and so there was both of them were trying to go to Saginaw County and stay within the district. But I would love to get you those numbers. I can find out from Amber. Oh my God, Amber Christie, who's our administrator in Knox County, if that study is out yet. If it's not, I can reach out to, I feel like I got it last year or the year before, the pay information for all. I have it somewhere. So I can get that to you, by early next week. Or actually, what is it? It's only Tuesday, so I could get it to you this week. So, you have any other questions about my budget? Well, thank you very much. Is there going to be another hearing with the budget committee? Eventually, no. All right.
The last week was the last one we had with the committee.
Okay, great. And so does that mean, is it okay if I just ask you so as far, I haven't had this happen before. I did have an issue in Waldo County a couple of years ago where my budget was slashed for different reasons than this here. So you all would make a recommendation about my budget? Is that correct?
We're the ones to make the
With
decision.
final approval.
Okay, and so you would be looking at $1 versus my full budget?
Yeah.
I mean, I'm just, I'm
that's
not,
the range, right?
Yeah.
We gotta figure out, how do we deal with the recommendation
Yeah.
from the committee,
Mhm.
and how do we deal with your budget? And
Yeah.
So
okay.
if you have any
Mhm.
views on that you can tell us how to
Yep,
reconcile.
yep, and I can just tell you, so as far as, I'm asking for what I believe is a bare bones. This is a no frills budget. There's no meat, or fat, I guess is what you call it. There is meat maybe, but there's no fat in this budget. If you look at Title 30A, Section 281, District Attorney Operations, county commissioners shall allow the district attorney serving the county sufficient funds for all office expense, et cetera, and so forth. So this is you know, our budgets are governed by statute,
So
so
what you're
this is my.
saying is sufficient is your budget.
It is, and this was again, even though our health insurance went up $42,000, you're seeing, I think, a $36,000 increase. So I mean, we've taken money out of other places. I'm a fiscally conservative person. I'm not asking for anything that I think is you know, nobody's having any this is not a luxurious request. What I'm asking for, I think, is what I would consider sufficient to run our office. And I think if it was below this by any, you know, any amount, you know, any large amount, right, any substantial amount, that it wouldn't be sufficient to run you know, for my operations.
How long have the two positions been open?
September,
July, late
Yeah,
July.
it's been on since
And
July.
so,
and then one July and one September.
and how has operations gone? Have you met the responsibilities in the county with those not being filled?
I think we've met the responsibilities, but we are hanging on by a thread. Yeah, I think I mean, I don't think we've committed any legal malpractice. I don't think we've, you know, we haven't gone below the threshold, but we can't sustain it. We have a victim advocate that's doing double duty. We have no supervisor in the office, like no county supervisor. That's an important role to kind of keep keep things.
Every county has the victim advocate.
Every county, and that's through statute also, and I don't know it I don't know the number off the top of my head, but victim advocate is probably in the same 30A district attorney section, but something along the lines of the district attorney shall have a victim advocate program.
And we have two.
Every county has two in the district. Again, it's typically, it's the way that it typically goes is that you have our attorneys split the caseload by alphabet. Now, of course, if we have a more senior attorney, they're going to take some of the more serious cases, and there could be just a little, you know, changing of cases little by little, case by case basis. But the victim advocates would each work with an attorney on that end of the alphabet. But then there's one of the victim advocates typically does any juvenile case that has victims, and then there's witness duties as far as getting things ready for trial and stuff like that. So they would have the juvenile caseload, and then the other victim advocate would have the domestic violence caseload. Those are heavy lifts. Those are, and then the juvenile cases can be heavy lifts also, because you're dealing with a juvenile defendant. There could be a lot of harm, but typically children are not, you know, very rarely would they be incarcerated unless they were a serious safety concern. So, you know, and those are special cases. We
So
need to
the
make
one
them.
advocate was filling the role of two.
Yes, and I don't think that's sustainable. I don't think that's sustainable just as far as workload goes, making sure you know, victims need to be contacted, victims need to have input, that needs to be communicated to the attorney. But they also do the grand jury schedule. They schedule, make sure we have the protections all ready for our trials, any hearings.
Paralegal.
So the paralegal can help with that. And I would have to look at the job descriptions to see if but I think the paralegal could do, I think that they're sharing some of those duties. But typically that's what a victim advocate would do. They do the grand jury schedule, they make sure your protections get out. You create a witness list before a trial by docket call. And then some of your witnesses aren't going to be available on certain trial dates. And so you have to make sure that the court knows that when they're scheduling jury trials.
So without the paralegal, how is the department been handling that or dealing with?
I mean, I think that it's just been all hands on deck, and we're just limping through until, I mean, I think people are sharing. I think Bree is taking a lot of extra.
Is Bree the assistant to
She's
She's a legal secretary.
legal secretary?
and she is applying for the position. We have another employee that's applying for the position. But I think that, you know, our approach is always, you know, we're a team. Like, the attorneys that go to court and eventually may go to trial or, you know, serious hearings or, you know, any of the work we do, but the pinnacle might be, you know, those types of trials and contested hearings and all of the support. I mean, everything is to support them able to get there and do that and get over the finish line. And we look at it as a team approach. So if it means that, for instance, I get a call one day and I have to come in and answer the phones, then that's what I'm going to do. It hasn't come to that. Nobody's ever asked, maybe they don't want me answering their phone for a reason, but it's all hands on deck. We've had even help. I think that we've had help. This district has, I'm sorry, this county has helped other counties when they were in need. And, you know, if we needed another county, you know, to help with something, they would, even things like, training, for victim advocates, for instance, if we have some victim advocates that have been on, we just had somebody that got a 20-year award. We have somebody who's worked for 37 years with the district attorney's office, somebody for 25 years, and they are in different counties and they may come in to help mentor a victim advocate through a trial process. We had a pretty big trial in August, and it was Abby Delana's, I think, the biggest trial that she had had. And so we had Kim Westrich from Saginaw County come and help, just help make sure, you know, because they're the ones that are ushering in our witnesses. They're working with the victim to make sure they're ready and they're updated on what's happening during the trial. So it's a big job. So, but it's always been, I think, really a team approach. People that work here and really throughout the district. I mean, either you are dedicated and, you know, and you're committed to doing it and you stay on and you treat it like we're a big team, a family, or it's not for you. And I think the people we have here are really dedicated to this county. So we're really lucky to have them. But as soon as we fill those positions, which I think will be soon, at least we'll have the paralegal filled relatively soon, it's going to be a huge relief for everybody. But yeah, we've been kind of critically understaffed just due to the vacancies, not because you haven't allocated those positions.
Maybe it would be appropriate for you to find out some of these salaries, though,
Yes.
that you're concerned about.
Mhm.
You take the lead on that and let us know.
Absolutely. I will get that data to you. I'll get the most updated data. Obviously, it changes every year. So
But it's not gonna change your budget request, is that?
not for this year, but maybe that's always a good, if I would be asking for increase in pay, it would be better to start around now, you know, once you're through, you know, not this meeting, but yes, it's a long-term goal. And I would be happy to do that, to get that over to you.
Participate in it.
I will participate in that. Again, when we're not down, you know, we've been down to 6 out of 8 attorney positions. And so I end up going and, you know, unfortunately, it means that I am that spare attorney. So I haven't had much of a weekend or vacation since March. And I very much look forward to being fully staffed so I can do more of what I think my position should be, which is administrative and doing things like advocate for staff pay. But when we're down attorney positions, we still have to show up to court. We still have to go to trial. I'll have trials all this month. So I'm really happy we're able to get this done before jury selection, which is on Thursday in Saginaw County. But yes, I'm very happy to take part in that and advocate for my staff to have a higher salaries if that's something that Lincoln County could accomplish.
Any other questions?
Nope.
I'm good.
Well, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Sorry.
Getting the chair out of the way so nobody tripped.
We're still going.
We're still,
Don't give me that look.
don't
I
shut
don't know, I
us
was
up,
like,
yeah.
let's,
We just want the awkward silence for a while, like, just sort of let it all soak in. Hey,
Hey,
Hey, how you doing?
how are you?
I know, I heard. How's it going?
oh,
Well,
good.
tell us about
everything.
everything.
Cycling.
Boy, we are loaded, we're full.
I-
We're filled up and it's slowing down a little bit.
Well, you're
Not a
still
whole
getting
lot.
buyers then, because sellers finding a
Yep,
market for
yeah,
it.
market's coming in. We have more packers. We have more facilities coming to us now. So we have Riverside now. We got them twice a week now with packers. We're starting to pick up on the cardboard again. The prices are down a little bit on everything, but we just try to turn it.
Well, a good day would come when all plastics are recyclable and not just, the number twos.
That'd be nice.
Yeah.
It's really tough. The 3 through 7s is just
No
horrendous.
market for them,
Not at all. None whatsoever. The tin isn't bad, metals isn't bad. They could be better for us. That'd be nice.
Well, the wire is extremely expensive.
Very
But it
much
sounds
so.
like it's basic to,
Yeah,
to put things out there.
yeah.
We already voted on.
I know, she told me that, so, but yes, the wire, all the extra. I know, don't you like that? The wire, I didn't use everything from last year, because I was trying it out. It's a whole new program with the baler. So I was trying to figure out how much wire we would actually use. And we didn't use as much as I thought, so I said, I'll just take advantage and grab all the wire I can. I mean, because I can sit on it for years, and just add when I need to. And
There's no waste when it goes through and cuts the
Nope.
bale. It's like.
no, it
it's
runs
just
right
precise.
to the end, yes.
Nice.
Yeah, no waste.
I'm just gonna ask the hard question.
Uh-oh.
Is the baling wire recycled once it goes on the other end? They separate it from the product.
I hope so.
That's what I said.
At least with the metal anyway. I don't know about the papers and the cardboard, so.
Right, but the
Yes.
baling
Yeah.
wire itself.
Mhm. I try to bail every possible thing that's bailable, and I can get rid of it without throwing it in the trash. But yes, we're starting to build back up again. Everybody's back to normal. I got Jeff back yesterday, so. And we're all back full duty again and full house, and we're also moving on.
So everything, all the machinery is going smoothly.
Yes. Yeah, we bought a new Packer. But it
New-
came with.
new
it-
to us.
New to us, and it came with summer tires. So, we were just hoping that we could just buy 4 winter tires and rims and just switch every season. And try to get more life out of each set of tires.
We have storage over there for.
I do.
Yeah.
I have all the storage and I have all the equipment to change them out.
And that was another new truck, was that, or new used one?
That's new use. That
That's
was the
it,
Packer.
The Packer, okay, and it was quite a process to get that one,
Right.
I understand.
And I'm glad I have Brian and Jerry, because those guys are just so good when it comes to maintenance and, a good eye to look at a vehicle and say yes or no. I'm glad she sent them down to
Right.
see the thing, because I would have just bought it and we would have got a lemon probably, but. But yes, it was good for them to go there and see what we bought.
And the baler, if something goes wrong with that, does our mechanic able to work on that, or is that?
Only a
outsourced?
little,
Only-
only the hydraulics and nuts and bolts, but if anything goes down, it's one phone call. It's already hooked to a computer
Oh, well.
someplace else, and I can just make one call and they'll go right through my computer and fix what the problem is.
They can diagnose it,
Really?
and
Right,
sometimes
yeah.
repair.
So often, if there's a problem, it's computer or.
Computer
electronic
yes.
Related.
It's got a hotspot in
Interesting.
the computer.
High tech with recycling.
Oh, boy, you should have seen what we had before. We had a gem.
Yeah.
But I can't complain about that baler, because that thing did a lot in its life. I don't even know what it did before we got it. And I mean, I put it through. And it did well.
And what's the level of contamination that comes through that ruins your product, or is it
I think we're at 6% on cardboard. The papers, I haven't had any issues with the paper, so.
And is that,
But that's what
fixed.
you've got bailed. That doesn't account for what you receive.
that's what I'm,
Employment.
that's what I'm worried
Yeah.
about, cause I've seen stuff at the Noble Jefferson things and people aren't really paying attention to what they're throwing in. They don't understand how that affects the downstream.
Yeah, they don't, and I've tried.
Yeah.
So we do a lot of picking. A lot.
Yeah.
Yeah, so they dump
We
the
pick-
truckload.
Right, so you
And our
actually have
ones
to
are
go
wading into
shuffle
it.
through it.
We do.
But we don't really have a conveyor belt to process that, do we? Or
No,
You're just manual.
we manually pick it up with our hands.
Fine. So we need to educate the local transfer folks.
Boy,
right, to
we have,
See
we
if they
have-
can educate the people who drop the stuff.
yeah, it starts at home.
Yeah.
And some people at home just
Yeah,
don't fall into line.
right. And they may not know too, because I'm always wondering,
Yeah.
you know, okay, this cardboard's a little damp, does that contaminate things or do I throw it in and, you know. Having a resource maybe for checking that may be helpful.
We built flyers and
Yeah.
more flyers.
Done Flyers and
Yeah.
sandwich
Yeah,
boards.
okay,
It's,
just,
it's really fun.
Handouts and-
okay,
It's really funny too, because you say that and it's like every facility we have has at least 3 people in it that run it.
Hmm.
We have one facility in Whitefield that has one person on a Saturday for 4 hours. That's the best facility that we have. The cleanest facility that we have.
so they must be doing something right.
They just, I guess they love to recycle.
Yeah.
And recycle everything that they possibly can. Best place ever.
You should get a trophy,
Yeah,
have a
just
competition.
amazing.
There's how we do our awareness campaign.
There we
Get
go.
the
That's
lowest
right.
contamination trophy.
there
every
we
year.
go, right,
And-
which transfer station's gonna.
You
win
might
it
as well
out,
give it
right?
to them and you'll never see it again because I am shocked. I was
Yeah.
shocked. That,
I did
you
a-
know,
A tour
it's
with
amazing.
their committee a few months back. And when I told them that Whitefield was the best, they thought I was making a joke and. it's completely
They are,
serious.
they are.
So do you get out to the transfer stations oftentimes to?
I try, sometimes it's kind of hard for me, but every now and then I'll jump into a truck and
Okay,
go to a station, and see what's going on.
yeah, I think the
Ask
visibility
questions.
is probably helpful with whether or not they're serious of, monitoring things.
I'm always on the phone.
Yeah.
Between work phone and my regular phone, I
Okay.
just,
I was gonna say, these are mobile.
they are, and I get calls on Saturdays, so but that's the way it is. And I got no problem with it.
Right. And the composting piece, is that growing or?
The composting has picked up, yes. It's slowing down now because it's now this time of the season, but yeah, we have increased. We can't go too much because now would have to reorganize the back parking lots. So, you know, we kind of stay at our level of, 5%, 6% of the material
And
and
the sales are enough to cover the cost of doing all that?
close.
Close.
No,
Oh,
not even. We have to do more of that.
No, but it takes that product out of the waste stream.
yes, yeah.
Food scraps are extremely heavy, so.
Right. And not everybody has a backyard to compost in, so if they have a place to deliver.
And not everybody does
food
it.
Scrap, yeah.
Town of Noblesboro is really good at it.
Hmm.
You know, but that's about it.
Hmm.
And then some residents here in Wiscasset will swing in and dump stuff.
Do the commercial haulers pick up food scraps and stuff like
You know,
that? too?
just us.
Just us.
So there's for-profit commercial entities like,
Was that Mad? What is that?
it's Scrap Dog.
Crap Dog,
is
yeah.
In Washington.
Washington, yeah.
There's, what's the one in Portland?
Garbage to garden.
Garbage,
They
yeah.
have Garbage to Garden. They have a business model where they have their own buckets.
Hmm.
They will pick up at businesses or households and then they return finished compost.
That sort of.
There's a fee associated with that, so.
Yeah, in Bath, where I live, they have the garbage gardens and he has his own routes. That he does, 5 days a week and they have a trailer and they have a pile of 5-gallon buckets and they have a pile of bagged compost that they've just taken from one week and just drop off to
They
the.
must have their own facility, then it's not a public facility.
Right. I think they're in cahoots with Casella
Okay.
because I've noticed that our garbage truck is a garbage truck from gardens, from garbage to gardens.
I think they have the contract.
I think so,
I don't think Casella has the contract.
for the city.
Right. And Scrap Dogs, I think they're using a former gravel pit as their facility.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that's on 220.
I think you're right.
But you're right, that food waste, I mean, it's heavy stuff, and if you're charging your dump fees by the pound, it's getting that out of the waste one makes a lot of sense.
Tipping fees are by
Yeah.
the ton.
Yep.
The challenge with trying to do something more expanded, we've got two different challenges. One is that our license only allows us so much volume. So collecting more and more food scraps, we're gonna run up against the limits of our license at some point. The other problem is if, let's say you want a curbside pickup of food scraps, that's at least 2 employees, one to drive the truck, one to load it. The truck itself, all the collection buckets and the time. It's an expensive endeavor. It's not something that would really have a cost benefit.
You'll have to be thinking about the savings somewhere else.
Right,
Yeah.
right. And the tipping fees for those food scraps don't outweigh the costs of labor. In a good. Could we do it? Yeah, we could.
Right.
And I've seen grants out there that help you with startup costs, but it's the ongoing costs of staff time benefits, equipment, all.
Well, at least we have a piece of that, as part of the
Right.
program.
Yeah.
Right.
And getting the other material is, to what you have to add to the food scrap to make the compost is.
Oh, and so you do add other material line or something.
That and manure, and,
Okay. Yeah.
grass clippings and leaves and the manure is really, we've been doing really well getting the manure through the county.
Mhm.
And we go up to the horse farms in the county.
From people who have horses.
Okay. So there's a lot of what? in the
We find them,
county?
it's great, we find them and then all of a sudden it's like they're gone. So, we found one now that's stuck with us.
And the deal is you pick it up if.
We
you
pick it up,
pay
they
for
give
or
it to
whatever.
us.
Yeah, nice, okay.
Glad to hear from you.
Yeah,
Yes, yeah, I get so stuck in my mind that I have to get that place clean because I'm getting ready for another round of it. It's like, I feel like a landscaper, I dig a hole and put a plant in it and I clean out the hole so I can put more cardboard in it. That's what we do. So far, so good?
well, it's good. We're a model for other counties for sure. and
Yes,
I appreciate your running
yes,
that operation.
yeah, because I really like this way of recycling.
Hmm. Well, we're gonna have to do it more and more. I mean, it's just, there's not a lot of space. It's limited.
It is going away quick. Okay.
Well, thank you for coming.
Thank you, everything. Have a good day.
You too.
I think that's,
Time for executive session?
Yep.
Move to go into executive session for a discussion of personnel under one MRSA 4056A.
Seconded.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right.
You know.